அடகில் இருக்கும் தங்க நகைகளை மீட்டு 10 நிமிடங்களில் பிரைம் கோல்ட் ஹப் மூலம் அதிக விலைக்கு விற்க 7997990028 தொடர்பு கொள்ளவும்.
சம்மர் வந்தாச்சு. வாட்ஸ் பிளான் ஃபார் திஸ் ஹாலிடே? எங்க கிட்ட விட்டுருங்க, நாங்க பாத்துக்கிறோம். GT Holidays.
GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
Distinguished dignitaries on the dais, Thiru K.T. Raghavan, Air Marshal M. Matheshwaran, Colonel Dr. John Prince, Dr. Gayatri Suresh, distinguished invitees, brothers and sisters present here. At the very outset, I would like to thank Chennai Citizens Forum for organizing this event, an event which has not only boosted the morale of our country, but raised the status of Bharat many notches up in the eyes of the Committee of Nations. Distinguished speakers, highly professionals, they have given an account of the detail as they could given the constraints of how this operation was conducted, its salient features. But at the very outset, I would like to salute all the members of our armed forces for delivering this landmark victory. I also like to congratulate and salute all the scientists, technologists, engineers, those who have been working hard and adding to our comprehensive national power, building the devices, the instruments which enhanced our military capabilities. Air Marshal Matheshwaran mentioned about how our BrahMos is capable and how we have moved forward from the time when we built it with the collaboration of the Russians, how we have indigenized it to such an extent that it is now, we proudly say it is our weapon. But you know, the scientist, at the nose of this cruise missile, there is a sensor that watches the target, that moves and navigates, gives the direction. But controller behind, if it chooses to abort the operation, they can abort the operation. It's not that once launched, it is just given, no. This capability, who built the sensor? It is our scientists, our technologists who built it. A great salute to them. A great salute to all our farmers, all our entrepreneurs who have raised our economy to a level that we are able to invest a significant amount of money in our research and development. A poor nation cannot. Today, we know where we are and how much revenue we have, and it is possible. Never before we had this. All of them, they deserve congratulations. Friends, Operation Sindoor has been a watershed moment in India's rise, India's history. 100 years down, 200 years down, people will remember and study this event as the one that brought a distinct change in the direction in which this country, Bharat, began asserting itself. We know it was a response to a terror attack, but is it that the terror attack is something new? Pakistan has been doing it since the beginning. The very first terror attack which Pakistan did was in 1948, 22nd of October, when they sent their troops and their terrorists and took away the part of Jammu and Kashmir. How did we respond? We had the wherewithal, we could have got this vacated and our problem could have been solved. Jammu and Kashmir, remaining a nagging problem, has been bleeding the country for the last more than 7.5 decades because the mistake was committed at the time when Pakistan, their act of terror was not adequately responded to. And how could we respond? I think it's something that one would not like to go back in the history, but if you completely forget it, as the saying goes, you will be condemned to repeat it. So one has to have a short glimpse. Imagine our Bharat country, after independence which was secured after countless number of people had given their life and blood. But who was the first head of independent Bharat? It was a Britisher, even after independence. Who was the first chiefs of our military services? Army, Navy, Air Force. It was all British officers. And when Pakistan moved their troops into Jammu and Kashmir, the British head of the state and the British military chiefs, who were the chiefs of our Indian military, they didn't let our troops move because at the time, British took the position that it was not a part of India as yet. And when the Maharaja of Hari Singh made a request for Indian troops because Pakistan had moved the troops, and our people, our leader like Patel and all were very keen on sending the troops, but Mountbatten and the military and the British chiefs of Indian military, they didn't allow that to happen, saying this is a foreign territory, you can't send your troops there. As a result, the Pakistan continued moving forward. Before that, it was the British Army officer Major Brown who handed over Gilgit-Baltistan to Pakistan. It was a integral part of Jammu and Kashmir. What happened at the time? The British officers, they decided, the unit officers, they decided to join Pakistan. They were at the time with Maharaja Hari Singh. It was they were deployed. They decided to go to Pakistan and they put Maharaja's governor into what they call protective custody. They arrested him, house arrest, and put the flag of Pakistan and informed Karachi, then capital, look, it is yours now. We didn't react. Instead of responding adequately, perhaps our Prime Minister, then Prime Minister, was such a great admirer of British, such a great Anglophile. You listen to the advice, you go to UN and you have a problem. Well, you have your capability. Who will solve your problem? You have to solve your problem. And you have the capability. No, you go to UN. went to UN, and look at what happened. It continued all through. Pakistan has been committing acts of terror again and again. Look at the 90s. Mumbai attack happened. I'm not talking about this 13/11. I'm talking about 92 attack. Hundreds of commuters were killed. But the mastermind of that was continued sitting in Pakistan from where he committed this act. We didn't do anything. All through, whether it is Kargil, Parliament attack, attacks after attacks, no part of this country was safe. Remember how the situation was in late 90s and initial decade of this century. No part of the country was safe. Everywhere. And all were originating. We all knew for certain that it all originated from Pakistan. We didn't act. After 26/11, the most humiliating attack, just a handful of 10 Pakistani terrorists sent by Pakistani military, they kept the whole country hostage. We kept helplessly watching in anger what they did. And within 9 months, the Prime Minister of Bharat and Prime Minister of Pakistan, they sit together in Sharm el-Sheikh and signs a joint communique. Both countries are victims of terrorism. Most shameful. Most shameful. We kept just living by it. In fact, we were forgotten. Our political leadership has decided to forget POK. And they were trying to have this LOC, line of control, as the international boundary. Thanks to Pakistani, they did not agree. Otherwise, we could have had signed an agreement. And just given away the POK to them. Our military, because they had a political direction, from their operational maps, they had removed POK. So Pakistan has been doing this because they knew that they could do it and get away without any price. And our experts, as strategists, kept talking, is a low-intensity warfare, proxy warfare, and what to do now. Pakistan has got a nuclear weapon. What can you do? Now they have got a tactical nuclear weapon. How do you deal with them? So they have a tactical nuclear weapon, as you know, that has a capacity for a limited but very, very impactful destruction. And we had given it up any other option except just trying to plead with Pakistan, plead with the countries in the world, asking them for help, asking them to drive good sense in Pakistan. We didn't read Pakistan, actually. The fault was that we didn't understand, our national leadership those days didn't understand our own country, didn't understand Pakistan. You know, our received wisdom is that a country that doesn't have what is called Satru Bodh, if you don't have a sense of enemies, first of all, you will not have any friend, and then you will continue suffering. We had no sense of enemy. As a result, we had no friends also. We had a lot of preachers who were guiding us, telling us, hold on, don't do that. You heard Air Marshal talking. On 2 occasions, India has a right to respond, and within days, no talk. And we kept listening to this. So we had no friends. You know, our ancient wisdom, it says, our Sukra Niti, Balino, Sanyad vina na rajyam na dhanam na parakrama. Balino vasaga sarve durbalasya jasatruva. Without a strong and efficient military, there is no rajya. There is no dhanam, wealth. There is no glory. If you are strong, you have friends around. If you are weak, you are surrounded by enemies. But somehow we didn't like talking about our past. We all believed what the British told us, that your past was dark. You knew nothing about it. And that's what our people believed it. Our leaders, not people, leaders believed it. And they took the country on a direction altogether, which brought us to a position where a small country, a tiny, puny country like Pakistan, kept as a hostage. Every time. When terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir began in the early 90s, almost in 89, 90 it began, 1991 it started. It had picked up momentum. At the time, whenever we wanted to do something significant, something worthwhile, which could hit Pakistan, our senior leadership, a strict direction from the political leadership, don't escalate. This timidity was not only in Pakistan front, even with China. Our troops were not allowed to go to the line of actual control. You be from a distance. Don't confront. And should you confront, you show the flag. This is our territory. They will say, this is our territory. And if they wait for some time, then you come back. You successively demoralized the military. We didn't build their capacity. It was again shameful that such a large country, such a large military, we just kept buying things. And a small country is talking peace, they kept selling weapons to us. Imagine Bofors, Swedish, they have not fought any war. They gave us the weapons, some people made money out of it. Our military knew what was happening, but as a disciplined force, they respected, they kept quiet. We didn't build our capacity. Be it on this LSE with the front, northern front, or be vis-a-vis Pakistan. So this, what happened, Operation Sindoor, this is watershed, because what happened during those 4 days, it has set a new direction, given a new message, the new direction of the trajectory of our movement hereafter. This will be a subject of a study, and it is a subject of a study by military strategists across the world. Not only India watchers, but all. Military strategists, because you start a war starts, but ending is not in your control. War has its own dynamic. It gets so messy. We have seen what is happening, Russia-Ukraine war, what is happening, Israel and Hamas. What happened when America got into Afghanistan, America got into Iraq, they all made it messy. But how short, swift, and decisive. Within just 4 days, you objected. India achieved its political objective. Now, this is a case study. Across the world, military strategists are closely studying it, trying to make sense out of it. It was also a demonstration of India's indigenous military capability, where we are today. 10 years back we were not. Today we are, and I'm sure tomorrow we will be still better. Our indigenous systems, our air defense, look at the way they swarmed with drones, but all failed because we had such a robust air defense system. It was indigenous, Akash, built by our people. So it also demonstrated India's indigenous defense capabilities. People talk about creating theater command, integrating the forces. We have not yet created operationalized theaters. But look at the exemplary jointness which our military displayed. All the wings of military. Army, Navy, Air Force, and even the paramilitary border security force. Each of them have their own system of communications, their own norms of functioning. We are trying to integrate, reach the jointness. But this operation, it demonstrated how all the wings of Indian Armed Forces, how smoothly they operated. This, again, without creating, the structurally achieving the theater command system, we achieved the operational jointness, which is an example to the rest of the world. How? The communication between the political leadership and the military leadership. Earlier times, suppose something happens, a report is given to the political leadership convenes a meeting, and the meeting, 10 people are sitting, each one will speak, sort of differently, no decision taken, military is waiting, what do you want? Okay, hold on. And you kept debating. And restrain. Why? Of course, they had, if you think that Operation Sindoor could have been conducted 20 years back, 15 years back, perhaps it was not possible. It could have exacted a heavy cost on us. Because we have made in the last 10 years, we have developed the capability that we could do it. We know that autonomy, the clear direction to the military that you choose your target, you choose your time, you go ahead. But it is not as simple. The whole political leadership and military leadership, they have visualized situations. Political leadership takes the final call. We have to punish now. Now it is time we have to punish at a scale which is effectively deterrent, not like Balakot. That's not enough. Balakot happened about 5-6 years back. Today we are better equipped, more capable. Our response has to be more robust, more muscular. So, choose the target and destroy them effectively. And we knew that there will be response. When response will happen from your adversary side, enemy side, how do you respond? You take your call. Different level of escalation. Managing the escalation dynamics again. And that too escalation dynamics between two nuclear adversary. All these years, at least for the last 3 decades, our leadership could not take a bold decision because Pakistan was a nuclear power. And today, the political leadership took the decision because we wanted to call its bluff. You have nuclear, we have, should you choose? First of all, it will not be easy. You may have the weapon, but we may not be able to use it. Should you, you can always say, yes, there is some possibility that they might. That would lead to total annihilation of Pakistan from the map of world. Because we have achieved that nuclear triad, sky, surface, and under the water. All the 3. Very few countries have, very few. So this nuclear deterrence, far, far superior. We don't have to. And this war demonstrated, Indian military demonstrated that without making noise, look at how our military leaders were composed, quiet. They were not making any statement anywhere. We had just, even our communication system again is subject of a study. That how, that not only communication between political and the military, which was super, so in time, and rather ahead of time, even between the military between the government and the people. Periodic briefing. Do it. Perception management across the world. Super. Except for Turkey and Azerbaijan. No country. Earlier, OIC country used to come out all the time in support of. No country. The countries like Saudi Arabia and all, with whom they have been surviving, they go to with the begging ball. They also told him, stop it, you have committed wrong. You have no business. We are not with you. So, this operation will be studied for long. This operation has created a watershed moment in our national history. And Prime Minister said it is ongoing. We must appreciate what is this ongoing. We don't have to worry too much about Pakistan. Pakistan is there, it exists till it exists. One doesn't know when it will cease to. It is already imploding from within. Our challenge is on the northern border with China. We are not oblivious to that. We have to continue building our capability. Operation Sindoor is building up that capability where nobody should dare to look at this country and try commit and act a misadventure. All these years, when on the northern front, Aksai Chin, almost about 28,000 square kilometers of land, taken away by China. And we kept it hush, pushed it under the carpet. Our then Prime Minister said, not a place of grass grows there. What is this land? Okay. But then, no longer. In fact, we had abandoned our northern frontier to an extent that hundreds of our villages along northern border, the villagers are deserted because we did not build a road, we did not take electricity, we did not build school, educational institutions, we did not take health care. We just left them to their fate. So people have started moving inward, and hundreds and hundreds of villages were all abandoned. This is how we were treating our people and our northern frontier. Now, what happened in 2014, we must appreciate that. After that, all that we are getting the glory and all that we are now so proud of is primarily because the change in national leadership. As Providence would have it, 2014 Bharat got a national leader, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who understands Bharat. And if you look at, many people, for those who do not understand Bharat, Prime Minister Modi remains an enigma, he remains a mystery. But those who understand Bharat, for them he is crystal clear. It's not difficult to decipher him or his moves. If you look at that what he did and what is being done, all these are work in progress, by the way. And that is where the role of all of us comes. This national leader has a clarity on absolute clarity of our nation. What is Bharat? Bharat is not just a mere geography. As British had told us time and again, when India was being partitioned and there were more than 560 independent countries created, there was some discussion in Britain, and Winston Churchill said, what is so big about it? 500, 600? He said, India is not a nation. India was never a nation. India is a geographic expression like equator. You cut into 1,000 pieces, how does it matter? Now, India being a geographic expression, it was this mindset that made us reconcile to losing a major part of our Jammu and Kashmir to Pakistan. Okay, territory has gone. It was this mindset that reconciled us to the loss of a thousands of square kilometer territory along the northern frontier. We lost. It was this mindset that Kaaba Valley, which is in Burma, across Manipur, was given to Burma, then Burma, now it is called Myanmar. You know, that was a very fertile rice land. It was this mindset that Kacha Diu was given to Sri Lanka. Because if it is a territory, if Bharat is a territory, territory is a transactional, you can buy and sell. It was this mindset that did not let a large, our border with Bangladesh, first East Pakistan and then Bangladesh settled. Because we had enclaves on both sides. And we were not prepared to take a bold decision. Nothing. Now, leaders so far looked at this country from the perspective of India, not Bharat. And Bharat cannot be understood from the perspective of India. We know that India as a political state emerged after independence in 1947. It became republic in 1950. But Bharat as a Rashtra, as a nation, has been there for thousands and thousands of years. What was that? What was that which has kept this diverse country, regionally diverse, linguistically diverse, cuisine-wise diverse, costume-wise diverse? No country in the world can boast and claim as much diversity as Bharat had. And yet, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and Kutch to Kamrup, we were one as a people. It was this which manifested in the month of January and February when over 66 crore people from all over the country and across the world, Bharatiya, came to Sangam and took bath. They all came from different, nobody invited them. What was that Bharat, which was not created by any king or a ruler or an army or a military like other countries in the world, which retained its beauty, which celebrated its diversity and yet remained one? What was that Bharat? That if Bengal was partitioned on communal line, reaction happened here in Tamil Nadu when Bhau Chidambaram Pillai and others launched the Swadeshi movement, boycott of the British goods. When Jallianwala Bagh happened in Punjab, reaction happened here. When Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose with his IN, Indian National Army, Azad Hind Fauj, started marching from Singapore, more than 5,000 young Tamil youth went from here and joined him. What was that? So it was beyond understanding of those leaders, because they were all educated in the British mode of education. They could not understand Bharat. Now we have a leader who understands Bharat as a nation. That this nation is a family, a kutumba. We must celebrate it. We must celebrate its diversity. Diversity is not, earlier leaders turned the diversity into differences. All different. No, we call it variations. Like petals in a flower, rose. 100 petals, no two petals are alike. And yet beyond the flower, petal has no existence. It is one. Million leaves on a tree. No two leaves are alike. but beyond the tree, the leaves has no existence. It was this sense of unity that was created several thousand years ago by our rishis that made Bharat. They couldn't understand Bharatiya values, its principles, its way of living. So there was absolute clarity on nation first. What is nation? What is Bharat? As a result, even on the northern, first of all, the POK which was already forgotten, we brought it back. No, POK has to be. POK will be taken. It is only a question of time. There is no doubt about it. POK will become part of Bharat. On the northern frontier, we kept pushing back. Imagine, if you recall, some of you, in September 2014, when the Chinese president, Xi Jinping was here, was swinging along with Prime Minister Modi at Gandhinagar. He was hosting, Prime Minister was hosting him. At the time, Chinese military made a misadventure in Ladakh, southern Ladakh. They moved forward to a height. Typical, every time a high-level delegation either from Bharat goes to China or China comes here, Chinese military will move forward. And our government effort will be, don't talk about it. Let the visit go on smoothly. After the visit is over, you write a piece of paper, what they call the marshal, and they will give it to the Chinese. Look, your troops has moved. I'm saying Chinese must be making fun of it. They will must be putting it either in the dustbin or the shredder or putting somewhere else. And that's the end of it. That's how they will treat it. But when in September, Xi Jinping, when he was here, and when the Chinese military made a misadventure in Ladakh, southern Ladakh, direction of Prime Minister was very clear. Push them back. They had one battalion. We moved a brigade. We pushed them back. There was a confrontation. Chinese president said, Mr. Prime Minister, this is a small matter, we'll sort it out. And what Prime Minister Modi said, you must remember it. That gives you a sense of what nation, understanding of nation. When Chinese president says, Mr. Prime Minister, this is a small matter, let us not escalate it, we will sort it out. Prime Minister Modi said, no, Mr. President, this is not a small. When a tooth aches, the whole body suffers. This may be a small piece of land. It is a part of us. We will not allow that to happen. Now that understanding, and that is how we find that now the border areas, border villages being repopulated, being massive scheme to develop it. You see, never before. All the areas were inaccessible. Our government was so scared that did not allow our people to build the roads. We didn't build the roads because we thought the Chinese would come forward. Today, look at the tunnels all across. Jojila Tunnel, when you have tunnel at Rohtang Tunnel, we have Shela Pass, we have all along we have tunnels around there. Now we are taking trains to Ladakh. And be sure, in coming a few months, we have already taken trains to Kashmir Valley. Now trains are going to Ladakh. Within a few years, work is in progress. It will happen. All the border villages, Prime Minister called it the first village, not the last village, because that is where India begins. The first village, the vibrant village, they have to be developed. Massive development thrust. This is all a part of understanding the nation. So the clarity of nation. What is Bharat? And so every inch of it, every citizen of it life is important. When we lost more than 200 people in Mumbai attack, some of them were foreigners too. We just forgot it within 9 months. When we lost 22 of our people, we launched Operation Sindoor. This is the life of our citizen is important. Every inch of our land is important. We don't negotiate, we don't compromise. Second is absolute clarity on national goals, What are our national goals? Our national goals are national self-reliance in economy. First, national self-reliance in economy, national self-reliance in national security, and national self-reliance in knowledge, national knowledge. We must have our own knowledge. When it came to economy, at the time when Prime Minister Modi came, we were the 11th economy in the world. At the time of independence, we were the 6th. And while we kept talking, earlier governments kept talking about Garibi Hatao, remove poverty, from the 6th we became 11th. More and more people became poorer. From now 11th, we reached 5th, now we are 4th. For the last 4 years, since 2021, Bharat is the fastest growing large economy in the world. Before that, whole world and our own economists, our own governments were reconciled. We can only grow at a small, slowly crawling. They even created a term for it. They said Bharat will only grow at the Hindu rate of growth. Slowly, 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 slowly. No. Today we are the fastest growing large economy in the world. And how did this happen? Did it happen because of all the government manufacturing or government doing this economic activity? No. Again, Bharat-centric economic policies. First, citizen-centric. The strength of Bharat is 140 crore Bharatiya people. We have to tap into their strength. But how do you do that? Almost more than 30% of them didn't have access to basic things of life, health, education, drinking water, housing, electricity. No financial inclusion. In the last 10, 11 years, you have seen, if you think of it closely, things have been moving at such a path, such a scale and a speed that it becomes difficult for many of us to even grasp it. In our own Tamil Nadu, our own state, let me tell you, I have the data of till December 2024. We have more than 1.5 crore people who have taken Mudra loan. Nearly half of them are women. When I go to the rural areas, in the districts and villages, when I meet the women entrepreneurs, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, and they have started their own work. They have become economically productive entity. No skill, but still, I have an enterprise. Nothing else, I'll buy a few cows and sell milk. Buy a sewing machine and start, sort of stitching garments. 10 ladies got together and supplying to the local market. They are doing it. Fantastic. This silent revolution, having given to our citizens without any discrimination the basic ingredients of citizenship so that they can live in dignity, education, health, Ayushman Bharat. Ayushman Bharat doesn't discriminate whether you are from Tamil Nadu or from UP. Irrespective of political dispensation, every citizen is Bharatiya. There could be political differences, but there is no discrimination among the people. Earlier, I remember Prime Minister of this country giving a speech in the parliament on the budget. Good economics is good politics. Means if you vote, I will give you more. It doesn't happen today. Look at here in Chennai, metro, second phase of metro, 67,000 crores almost. When the state didn't have money, first they started, no, we will do our own. When we didn't have the money, center did not hesitate. Prime Minister said, okay, you have it. Because it will serve the interest of our people. Differences, political differences apart. There is no difference among our people. Our people, every Bharatiya is a Bharatiya, irrespective of where the person is or which political dispensation the person is aligned with. Doesn't matter. So, citizen-centric policies. Empowering the people. Giving them a skill, create greater thrust on a skill. We were all sort of producing only these degree holders. Look at today. All the transfer, if this, we are from the 11th to the 4th economy, who has brought? Is it these people, that women in the village who has bought cows and selling milk and adding to the activity? Is there's those small micros which have put together and brought it. Our farmers, look at this. Whole digital public infrastructure. Imagine. Earlier, we all know how the citizens, earlier if suppose if the Prime Minister had to give Kisan Samman Nidhi, some money if it comes to the farmer every year, 6,000 rupees. The project is sanctioned, the person has to go to the block office, block run behind the BDO or the agricultural officer and run around. Half of them will be eaten up by them, half of them is a small percentage the person will get it. Today, financial inclusion, you get it at the top. Just pressing the button, money is in your account. This direct benefit transfer by creating a massive universal digital public infrastructure which the most advanced country in the world doesn't have. No, this is enabling. Women empowerment. We have been talking about women empowerment. What was done? We only created some, allocated some fund, created some department, and that's all. No. Half the population. If the Bharat has to grow, it has to grow with the full potential of our women being harnessed. Look at the schemes today. Today our women are coming forward in every domain, including military. Today they are going NDC. All the domain. They are now flying fighter bomber jets. Our women pilots are doing that. Every domain. Women empowerment. Let them come up. Is all essentially empowering, creating environment for every citizen to unleash the latent potential that lies within the citizen. That is why there's so much thrust on entrepreneurship. In fact, today, our measuring parameters are so old that we are not able to catch the degree of progress. 10 years back, our poverty was almost 28% of the country. People were below poverty line. Today, it is less than 4%. Absolute poverty doesn't exist in this country. Now, all this transformation which has happened is showing the result, is building to our capacity. Look at the revenue tax. Earlier, everyone has a distrust. Government had so much distrust for the people. The government did not trust the people. Every law, every regulation was built on distrust. Take the case of income tax. Every person is working hard, creating some wealth, some income. Presumption is this person will not give us the tax. Tighten him as much as you can. In the process, what happened? Till 10 years back, our tax base was direct tax base was about hardly 2 crores. Today we have crossed 10 crores. Why? Because people are becoming more and more, it is trust. They say Vivad, say Vishwas. Don't distrust, trust. From distrust to trust. Trust the citizens. Those who created wealth in the belief of socialism, we thought that the wealth creator was a thief. Imagine, how can? A wealth creator is today respected, that you are doing your business through legitimate means, you have earned wealth, you are respected. Because the person who creates wealth, he doesn't sleep over putting in a pillow. The money is in circulation. It adds to the economy. And look at our tax collections today. Nobody had thought of, people had thought of but didn't have the courage. Look at the GST. It was mentioned that the first was our late Finance Minister Jetli came and talked about. The way it has revolutionized, made it easier and revolutionized the tax system. A year on year, quarter on quarter, our tax revenue is increasing. We have so much of money today that today any project is not stalled for want of resources, for want of money. And all this money coming from the people. So it is national self-reliance in our economy. This is one of the national goal. Second is national self-reliance in security. National security. Total self-reliance. We don't have to depend on others. You cannot be secure based on the strength of others. You have to have your own strength. Earlier, the governments only talked about our moral strength. We will not do that. Even after, humiliation after humiliation, we didn't learn the lesson. National security has to be a priority. We have to be self-reliant. Such a large country with such a large military, and we had the dubious distinction of being the largest arms buyer in the world because we didn't produce anything. We had ordnance factories with about nearly 100,000 workforce, huge infrastructure, and we were not producing even ammunition for our rifles, for our men. Everything was in chaos. Now, today is the same ordnance factories, when it is restructured, they are producing the top class weapons, top class vehicles, top class ammunitions. Restructuring. Do it. Public sector participation. Look at, from nothing. Today, last year, we have almost exported more than 22,000 crore worth of defense equipments. Our target is much higher. So earlier the defense was so secure. No, private sector will not be allowed. Why? They are our citizens, our own people. They have the capability. They have capability more than what the government has. Give them the opportunity. The sector is opened, and today so many players are there, and they are doing wonders. Our self-reliance in defense production. Self-reliance in technology. We talked about, our former speaker mentioned about, we are not dependent on GPS. We have our own Navik. But then this Navik also operates through our satellite. And what if our adversaries disables that very satellite? Hits the satellite and satellite is destroyed. Your communication is gone. You have a system, but your platform is vulnerable. So what we did? In 2018, we developed the capability of anti-satellite and demonstrated to the world that if you hit my satellite, my space asset, I will destroy yours. We did that. Every sector, we have built the capability. And today, we are far more self-reliant. We are not yet fully self-reliant. We have a distance to cover, but we will cover it. We have no doubt about it. We are moving forward with a goal, national goal. And national goal is self-reliance in national economy, self-reliance in national security, and self-reliance in national knowledge. We cannot depend on knowledge, borrowed knowledge. We have to have our own knowledge. That is why there is so much huge thrust on innovation, research. You see, schools, thousands and thousands of schools today have adult tinkering lab. Children can go and do the experiment as they wish. Fanciful experiment, do it. That's how we learn. National education policy, revolutionary. For the first time, a policy has come. Previously, we had two policies. They were not policies. They certainly not policies. They were tinkering with what the British policy, education policy was left behind. One was in early 60s, other was in 80s. In truly national education policy, to create a sound knowledge base where our youth, our students, are not just rote learner, but their cognitive ability multiplies. They have the capacity to think, they have the capacity to dare, they have a capacity to experiment. They have a capacity to fail, and they have a courage to rise after the failure. That is a lesson. This national education policy is a revolutionary initiative. Some people say that they will not accept it. This is just not possible. They have to. There is no option. You cannot say that no. This is Delhi's policy, this is our policy will not be the same. It has to be. National education policy is necessary for our national self-reliance in our knowledge. Then thrust, huge thrust on our research and innovation. Imagine intellectual property today. Where were we about, let us say about 7-8 years back? Today, the reality is in the world, if you go by 2024, World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO, their report, which country creates how much of intellectual property? China contributes to more than 46% of patents in the world. United States, 18%. They say qualitatively they are much superior and better. We were nowhere. In last 5 years, we have gone 500 times. We are reaching about 1 lakh patent a year. There is a huge thrust. Our own, in our Tamil Nadu, we had universities. We have 20 state universities. We produce more than 7,000 PhDs every year. But when it comes to intellectual property, there is nothing. So what kind of PhD you are? When you do research, you create knowledge. You create knowledge wealth. There is no. We have a very prestigious university, Anna University. We pushed them from 2021, 22, when we just didn't have hardly even 50 patents, not even that. Then we have we sort of produce almost nearly 250,000 engineers. We reached with a hand-holding of IIT Madras, because IIT Madras, last year they have reached the target of 400 patents a year. They had set the target of 1 patent a day, they have exceeded it. Then I advised them, director, now your next year or your target should be 1.5 patents a day. So by next year, by 2025, we will expect more than 600 patents. And I have no doubt they will achieve it. But next door, we will be just working in insulation, complete isolation and insulation. Why? With the hand holding from this, IIT Madras and others, our Anna University has started producing. Our patents number has started increasing. Of course, it is slowly increasing, but there is a thrust. I am sure it will come. So, mere producing degree holder is not enough. We have to create intellectual property. We have to create something worthwhile. So the great thrust which is happening, which is transforming our knowledge base, which is taking us towards self-reliance in knowledge, our knowledge, national knowledge. Look at, in 2014, we didn't have even 400 startups. Today, we have more than 160,000 startups. And who are they? Our young men and women who are doing it. Wonderful things they are doing. You trust them, give them opportunity. Encourage them, they will do it. Our people are capable of doing fantastic things. Mind-boggling, they are doing it. So, with all the 3 pillars of our national goal, we are moving forward. And it is this which is creating farmers, all the core sectors are taken care of. It is this that is building the comprehensive national power. It is this that demonstrated in Operation Sindoor. And tomorrow, if something happens, if someone tries to be misadventurous, again, we are in a position to inflict far more punitive cost on them. We have the capability. In this, our onward journey, while we celebrate, and it is unfortunately in this country we have people who, again, they need to worry. I think here again we have a responsibility. There are people who do not like this country to rise. They are so much of vested self-interest. They put their self before the country. And they will try to raise all kinds of questions and doubts. Questioning with so much evidence when the world has accepted that it was the decisive victory of India. The world has acknowledged it. Still there are people who will keep asking, how many planes have fallen? How many planes have fallen? And you are in a combat scenario, planes will fall. What is big about it? Yeah? You are not doing any exercise on a, on a simulation exercise. You are actual battle casualties will happen. We have the courage to take on the casualty, to take the casualty, and we'll do that. So this is new Bharat, emerging new Bharat. And under the leadership, the national leadership, I have no doubt, and let there be no doubt in the mind of anyone, that we will continue growing, continue building our strength, and we do it for the good of the world. The rise of Bharat is not a threat to anyone. Rise of Bharat is threat only to the destructive forces. If someone sitting in Pakistan wishes to do something, Pakistan will have to pay the price. There is no doubt about it. Any country for that sake. But in this journey, to fulfill our national goals, we have our roles to play. Each one of us must be aware of it. And I'm sure we are and will continue doing it. I once again salute all the soldiers, all the men and women of the armed forces, and all the scientists, all those behind who made this, who contributed this to the Operation Sindoor, who made it possible, who made it such a grand success, who delivered us the victory which the world is envious of us. No country in the world has fought such a short war, such a swift war, and such a decisive war. But in the process, we have set a benchmark higher, and we will achieve it. We will keep and continue achieving higher and higher benchmark. I have no doubt about it. We have a strength of Bharat. Thank you very much for listening. Jai Bharat.